A region's rivers and waterways tell us about the health of the environment and the plants, animals, and people who live there. Leopold and M. Wolman revolutionized our understanding of how and why rivers change over time, and their work has had a profound effect on our ability to manage and protect our natural land and water resources. Rivers are always moving and changing, eroding the land and carrying soil and nutrients along with them. Studying these changes and their effects on the land and environment has been the lifelong focus of two extraordinary scientists, Leopold and his colleague M. Wolman.
We are interested in seeing whether or not you can predict the kinds of changes that will occur in river systems.
Wolman and Leopold were among the first to scientifically quantify all of the vital attributes of rivers, the quantity and velocity of water flow, the width and depth of riverbeds, and even the types of sand and stone found on the bottom. Along with their colleague, the late John Miller, they wrote the definitive textbook on the subject, a book that is still used today after 40 years in print. But getting there wasn't easy. They spent years out in the field in all kinds of weather, from pouring rain to blazing summer sun.
There are many things in science that can't be done in the laboratory. If you're studying the things that go on in the wide open spaces, you can't do it by sitting in the office.
M. Wolman, nicknamed Reds because of his red hair, grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. During boyhood summers spent on a dairy farm in Connecticut, he developed an interest in rivers and a lifelong fascination with cows. During his graduate studies at Harvard, Wolman met Leopold, a civil engineer turned geologist who grew up in New Mexico. Despite the differences in their Eastern and Western upbringings, the two found that they did have some things in common, including a love of the environment and a passion for science that they inherited from their famous fathers, environmental engineer Abel Wolman and biologist Aldo Leopold. The pair started their work together on the East Coast, observing rivers from Pennsylvania to Delaware to Washington, D.C., including Wolman's dissertation study of Brandywine Creek, a study in which his wife played a key role.
I didn't have the standard official gauge plates when I began. My wife took it upon herself to actually paint some gauges, and this is a tedious work of, I think, love is the only way to describe it.
In the late 1940s, Leopold brought Wolman in on a project that he was undertaking for the United States Geological Survey.
What we needed was a series of observations on a whole lot of rivers. And so that started a series of field trips into the West.
During summer months spent camping out in the wilderness, Leopold shared with Wolman his love of the American West. Over the next 10 years, they traveled all over the region, from Wyoming to Colorado to New Mexico, mapping, surveying, and taking measurements. Along the way, they had to invent new procedures and even equipment, including the gravelometer, a device to measure the size of stones found in the riverbeds. During the course of their work, they learned that the boundaries of a river are dynamic. For example, during floods, they can and do extend for miles beyond their normal banks. Building close to a river or on a floodplain can be dangerous, but Leopold and Wolman also found that the construction of levees or dams to change a river's boundaries could destroy natural resources many miles away by restricting the flow of water and nutrient-rich silt and soil from one place to another.
We're getting ourselves into lots of trouble. What we need to do is balance the advantages that we get with the disadvantages that we're causing.
Leopold eventually left the U.S. Geological Survey to become a professor at the University of California at Berkeley, and Wolman joined his father as a professor at the Johns Hopkins University. Despite being on opposite coasts, they continued a close personal and working relationship that has lasted more than 50 years. Their groundbreaking methods of quantifying changes in rivers and streams profoundly influenced urban planning and water supply management to help minimize erosion, pollution, and destruction of the ecosystem. And their environmental impact studies have protected valuable national resources like the Florida Everglades.
And this work ties very directly into environmental issues of water quality, stream pollution, then water management.
We do it to try to show what is the better way to handle our relationship to the environment. This was a very interesting career. It was fun. We enjoyed it thoroughly and got great satisfaction out of learning. And that's really what science is about.
The 2006 Benjamin Franklin Medal in Earth and Environmental Science is awarded to Luna B. Leopold and M. Gordon Wolman for advancing our understanding of how natural and human activities influence landscapes, especially for the first comprehensive explanation of why rivers have different forms and how floodplains develop. Their contributions form the basis of modern water resource management and environmental assessment.